Hey guys, so is Wizards of the Coast trying once again to get out of the doghouse with tabletop gamers? We'll talk about that in a minute, but before we do, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click on the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and the bell icon for more notifications about more videos about tabletop gaming, old school gaming, all that fun sort of stuff. And of course, today's video is brought to you by our friends at Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde publishes the modules that they'd like to play, with offerings for OSR, Castles and Crusades, and 5e. No matter what rules are in use, old school is in the play at the table. And you can pick up Hellebarde products at hellebardegames.com or Drive-Thru RPG. That's Hellebarde Games. So let's get into this. This came out on comicbook.com, actually, of all places, because everybody's picking up the story of how things really went off the rails for Wizards of the Coast when they messed with their winning formula. And so let's take a look at this. And of course, what we believe is entirely up to us, but I thought this was interesting. So let's take a look at this, and I'll link to the article below, of course. And this comes to us, this is Christian Hoffer over at Comic Book Gaming. Says, Dungeons & Dragons doesn't appear to be looking for a way to limit who publishes material compatible with its upcoming edition. This week, D&D design team executive producer Kyle Brink appeared on several podcasters and influencer YouTube pages to explain why Wizards of the Coast reasoning behind the recent OGL controversy and provide preliminary updates about how Wizards plan to move forward from the disastrous week-long split between the company and its fan base. Disastrous is understatement. Of particular note, in interviews which were separately held by the Three Black Halflings podcast, which we've talked about, the Mastering Dungeons podcast, and YouTube creator Jenny D. I'm not familiar with her work. You guys can tell me if I'm saying that right. Was Brink stating that the SRD, which lists what rules, mechanics, and Wizards of the Coast originated language can be used in third-party content, would be updated to remain compatible with the upcoming changes being playtested in the one D&D playtest. The SRD will remain compatible with all the stuff we publish, including the new rule set, Brink told Jenny Dye. There will be like an SRD 5.2, 5.3, 5.4, and whatever, each of which will remain in the Creative Commons and under the OGL 1.0A. Now that's interesting. Note, he's making a division there. I don't think we're going to see OGL 1.0A being moved into the protection of the Creative Commons, but it's also interesting to note that OGL 1.0A, he mentions this in the future. That's not to say that they're not going to alter it, guys, but you know, he is mentioning it there. Our commitment is that the SRD will continue to be compatible with the rules updates that are coming, Brink said to Teos Abadia of Mastering Dungeons. Now, whether that's because we're going to bring rules in, bring wholesale text in from the rules updates, or whether we use some kind of bridging language, that's our promise, is that the SRD will be updated to remain compatible for the new rules updates. Brink's comments are a continued reversal from Wizards' plan to deauthorize the OGL, which provided a framework for publishing materials compatible with various Dungeons & Dragons, etc., etc., etc. Wizards of the Coast previously tried to move away from the OGL and open gaming when it switched to the 4th edition rules back in 2007. Publishers could only make content for 4th edition under the GSL, which was much more restrictive than the OGL. Many publishers opted to simply continue making material for 3rd edition, and specifically 3.5e, instead keeping that edition dominant within greater tabletop marketplace. The result was an edition split where fans had to choose between a rule set supported by a third-party publisher or a rule set supported by Wizards. In the interview, Brink noted that 1D&D was looking to make revisions to 5th edition rather than release a full new rule set, which would complicate any attempt to keep 1D&D under a more restrictive license. Because 1D&D will in essence be a revision to 5th edition, it would hypothetically be easier for third-party publishers to reverse engineer any revisions to the rules using the current SRD and circumnavigate any attempt to keep 1D&D restricted under a new license. That's kind of telling. Because it's my understanding, and if I'm wrong about this, if you know, and yes, I know my name is in the book, Osric was basically reverse engineered all the way back from 3rd edition to a 1E compatible thing. So, you know, maybe that's a good thing for old school stuff. Brink's commitment to keeping the SRD consistent with the most recent D&D rules is notable for several reasons. It protects D&D from an edition split, don't you believe that one, by keeping the most updated rules available for third-party publishers to use. It also provides some assurances to third-party publishers that they will be able to continue creating content for the most recent version of D&D, thus incentivizing them to keep supporting D&D and keep D&D in its current place of market dominance. We'll see. It also undercuts the third-party publishers who plan to release their own 5e-compatible systems that could potentially rise up to be a viable challenger to D&D within the tabletop marketplace. I don't think it does at all, but that's just my opinion. Of course, Brink's commitment to updating the SRD will be met with skepticism until Wizards actually updates a system. Yeah. Trust in Wizards of the Coast remains at a low point, and many publishers will still likely move forward with plans to either create their own systems or at least not commit as wholeheartedly to future editions of D&D. However, it seems that 1D&D and future updates to D&D will be available for any publisher to use and support. So, folks, as always, tell me down in the comments what you guys think. I'll believe it when I see it. I am very much in Captain Kirk mode. Don't believe them. Don't trust them. And particularly keep your powder dry as it relates to old school products that rely on a backbone of something like Swords and Wizardry or Osric, or even if you just broke away and made your own thing, but still at least tacitly leans on the OGL and the SRD. Really, you gotta you gotta keep an eye on this, as I will continue to do. But again, you guys tell me what you think down in the comments below, and we'll have a discussion about it. But anyhow, we will be back at 8 o'clock tonight with just open chat on Tuesday, and then at 9 o'clock we're going to live stream for some 1st edition advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and that's going to be loads of fun because that's what we do on Tuesday. We have fun. We have fun every day here at the Delver's Dungeon. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Keep watching the skies. Talk to you later.